you're a young person, you're alert for these things because everybody's always trying to get you to consider yourself as just one thing, black.
Stay on the line, Shaun. I'm going to bring you back in. I want to bring someone else in. I think I have slightly differing views. Maurice McLeod is Vice Chair of Race on the Agenda and is a social and political commentator. Same question to you, if I can, Maurice, at first line. One of the best places on earth to be black. Would you agree? Good morning.
Good morning, Nick, and good morning, Shaun. I think it's a pretty ridiculous thing to say, to be honest. When we're having a moment of the world looking at racial injustice, it's not, as Dave, the rapper, said, it's not a competition. Being the least racist is still racist. So I think it's a bit of a nonsense thing for her to say. And to be honest, she said it to shut down criticism. That I think she should, if she's the Equalities Secretary, she should be leaning into that criticism and dealing with it.
Do you hold with the assertion then, Maurice, that being black is a death sentence? You agree with that?
I think obviously there's a bit of hyperbole in there, but almost on every aspect of British life, there is a negative impact to having black skin in this country. So, if we've seen the figures for COVID, but we've also seen the figures for all sorts of other ailments and social ills that fall harder on black people. So I wouldn't say a death sentence, no, but I can see why someone would use that as hyperbole.
All right, well, let's bring back into the conversation someone who was running to be Mayor of London, who is also a black person. Shaun, what would you say to Maurice?
But I'll take Maurice's point. He said some hyperbole. That isn't some hyperbole. If you're a young person and you wake up and hear it's a death sentence to be black, what does that do to your mental health? What does that do for your outlook in the world? Maurice is right in one sense. It's not a competition who's worse or who's better. But of course, we in this country and anybody in any other country have mainly to deal with their own issues. So what Kemi said was entirely right, because she was speaking to a minister who's trying to an MP who's trying to connect our issues to issues outside the country that we can't quite affect in that same way. So in the context of this conversation and what was said, Kemi was completely right to bring her back in line. It wasn't about shutting her down. It's about having a conversation about the things that are our business in this country.
Let's bring Maurice back in. Maurice?
Absolute nonsense. Any person of colour, any person, full stop, any person of colour knows that we live in a global world. To suggest that we shouldn't really pay attention to things that are happening in other countries, when most of us come from other countries originally, or have parents who do, or grandparents who do, is just a ridiculously tone-deaf thing to say, to be honest. So,
you're tone-deaf, Shaun.
So let's be clear, Maurice. I didn't say we couldn't do anything about it. I didn't say we shouldn't do. What I said was we are focusing on the things that we can do. This happened in our House of Parliament where we fix our laws. So of course we should be talking about what that House has power to do. That was the context of which the conversation was had. If we were talking about the struggles of black people through history or the struggles of black people across the globe, that's one thing. But we're talking about an MP who conflated a number of things and directly spoke to young black people to suggest that this country, not the WAP, this country is a death sentence for them. That is not grown up, that is not useful, and that definitely doesn't help the cause of black people in this country.
Maurice, final word for you.
Well, first, the ridiculous idea that there's millions of young people watching Parliament. Good luck with that one, Shaun. But secondly, to suggest that when we've got a disproportionate number of young people dying from this COVID crisis, to suggest that looking at social inequalities it's not the right thing to do, and you're going to scare the horses. I'm sorry, that's nonsense. Sometimes you need to actually have the argument. You can't always hand it to the middle, I'm afraid.
I'm grateful to you both. Thank you. You heard first from Shaun Bailey, Conservative candidate for Mayor of London. Of course, those elections should have taken place in May. They are now rescheduled. Shaun sits on the London Assembly. Maurice McLeod is Vice Chair of Race on the Agenda. Maurice is also a social and political commentator. Thanks for your input.